Welcome folks, it is Jaypher. Now back in October I reviewed the Katana Ultralight, a really cool, awesome, old school shaped mouse that had some quirks, and I said at the end of the video, just skip over re-releasing it with some improvements and go straight for the wireless version. 5 months later, Ninjusto did just that with the Katana Superlight. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Looking at the Katana Superlight, you're going to do a double take, and you're not going to be the only one, as the new Superlight from Ninjusto does strike a resemblance to Logitech's offering in not only the name, but the scroll wheel. Even the LED indicator on the top is in the same exact position, so it just kind of adds some further confusion, just as I was confused. I thought Macaulay Culkin was a quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. For $89.99, this is more than just a Ninjusto cutting the cord on their wired mouse, so coming in at exactly 60 grams, a mere 2 grams more than the wired version, you're getting a slew of upgrades. It's a large offering, coming in at a near identical size of the G Pro Superlight, but not the same shape. The front end is much more rounded as opposed to the G Pro having those flatter finger placements on mouse 1 and 2, as well as having a little bit of a finger groove. There's no finger grooves on the Katana. The back end runoff on the Katana is angled a tad lower, but the biggest difference is going to be on the sides. The sides is what's going to be most polarizing to folks as they go in an upward slant toward the middle as it goes up. So without the side buttons being there to help catch my fingers as I lift the mouse, it would almost really just slip right out of my hands. And so as I mentioned in my previous video with the Katana, for me to really utilize this mouse fully and have that extra sense of security, I do also dig my ring and pinky finger into the side where the shells meet, just to give me that extra strength when I do have that grip. I found the claw grip being perfect for me on the Katana Superlight. Palm can work well as it is a large mouse, but fingertip is where I'd be more hesitant about. It's doable, but the rear flare isn't as aggressive as other mice to help control its movements, and the upward angle on the sides continue to give you some difficulty when you're fingertipping, even with my hand size of 19 by 10 centimeters. The rear hump doesn't fill the inside of my palm like the G Pro Wireless or the Superlight, but in no instance did I feel like it wasn't enough of a surface grip for it. For the most part, I've really gotten used to the Katana Superlight more so than the older ultralight wired brethren, mainly because of its wired connectivity really brought it that much closer to the experience that I had with the G Pro Superlight. The main switches have been changed out. Gone are the GM 8.0s, and in place are the Wano pink dot switches. These feel great, and they're really firm and responsive for precision clicking or spamming. No issues there with them. There is a handful of pre and post travel on every button though. Nothing that was an annoyance, but is very apparent in my copy, as well as my M1 or left button does have this weird extra click when I do apply the slightest extra amount of additional pressure, and trust me, that does happen a lot when I was using this. The scroll wheel is fantastic though. It's firm, definitive tactile step with no wiggling or any side play. With the wire being gone, in place is a magnetic charging system with that pogo pin style system that you might have seen on your wireless Razer mice. I don't really have any issues with it, but it is going to be another additional cable you will have to have around with you, as of course you don't have the option to use a micro USB or USB-C. I didn't have any issues with the battery life. Ninjusto states it does last up to 96 hours on a full charge. It's also listed to have new and improved assassin feet, and they definitely do feel like it. They're extremely smooth from any of your dynamic or static friction stances. I felt zero desire to look into any third-party options, so they're great right out of the box, but I do know that they are working on glass feet for this, so keep an eye on their Twitter for that. The plastic surface feels much like the Logitech counterpart, and it's kind of weird because on the original Katana Ultralight, it did have a grippy surface all around, whereas now with the Superlight, it's mimicked the Logitech Superlight, except for mouse 1 and 2, where the plastic does feel a lot grippier and it is slightly different. Normally different surfaces on one mouse tend to distract my grip, but not really the case here. I would strongly recommend downloading the software. As with most wireless mice, they're default to settings that most folks won't really use. Like out of the box, the Katana comes in at 500 Hz pulling rate and 12 millisecond debounce. So definitely download the software to adjust those to your liking. And what's going to be adjusted as well is going to be that 3370 sensor. It's a super low liftoff distance. I didn't have any issues with it at all. Very responsive. It is defaulted at the usual 4 DPI settings that normally come out of the box. So that's something else that you can also adjust within the software. And if you don't want to adjust anything with the software or bother downloading the software, you can, of course, use the DPI button on the bottom. Playing the Katana Superlight, I really did like it a lot more than the Ultralight. And I think that owes to the fact that it is now wireless. I don't have to worry about any cable, because the lighter a mouse you go and it's still tethered to a cable, you feel that cable more and more. You feel that drag. And that's not going to be the case, of course, when you're going with a wireless option, such as the Katana Superlight. And as I was playing it, I didn't notice that my hands became like any sort of clammy or anything like that. And I don't know if that's really anything in reference to the surface, because I do feel that I was just more comfortable with the surface on the Superlight than that old plastic surface on the Ultralight. In the end, Ninjusto really did a lot of improvements on the new Superlight over the Ultralight, and I do commend them for that. But now this is the third mouse that they've released using an old school shape. I want to see something new. I want to see something that's not just a refresh variation of an old mouse. So now that they kind of have the groundwork and the foundation of making mice and manufacturing them, shipping them out, whatever it may be, I'm hoping to see that we see something unique down the road. But if you are looking for the Katana Superlight, I will leave a link in the description below, and that'll be for Amazon as well as directly through Ninjutsu. So hopefully this is something that does spark your interest, and if you do use those links, it does support the channel, which I do appreciate. If you did like the video, please throw a like, and of course hit that subscription button down below. That always means a ton. Until next time, I'm Jaypher, and you stay safe.